Yeah. Well, it goes. I guess it can go with victim. It does go with. Yeah, there you go. Put your knee on mine. It does go into victimhood. It does being a victim. It does go into the default mode network and mental time travel, which the term that was on that guest of Russell Brand Day is what is a bad trip.
It's a bad trip.
And so the thing is, for a long time, and still, you'll find all over the internet and all over discussions of people who take psychedelics and have a bad trip. Their explanation of a bad trip is something happened to them, and in effect, who made them have a bad experience. So something outside of themselves created a bad experience. I saw demons. Oh, I was scared. I saw black, and I could. But what is a bad trip is only us not separating ourselves from victim ego and victimization.
Oh yeah.
So we think about what is a victim is to be a victim, other than the very valid car wreck, shooting, bomb, those are a real victim. When we're talking about situational, why does this always happen to me? Is because we're taking our own indecisiveness, our own inability to see ourselves decisions and our own responsibility for a situation. We're placing the blame, projecting the blame onto something outside, which makes us a victim to our own circumstance.
Yeah, that's a good representation of the reason why you have a bad trip has nothing to do with other than the person in the mirror.
Yes.
Right, it's that guy. That guy is the one who's causing you to have a bad trip.
So a bad trip has nothing to do with anything.
Owning yourself.
That's why people say
you can't own yourself, you have a bad trip.
There are a lot of people that are scared of mushrooms, scared of acid, scared of mushrooms, scared of DMT, scared of psychedelics because they said, I had a bad trip once. So therefore they're replacing the element, the substance, mushrooms, LSD, DMT, as being the resulting inhibitor of a bad trip. But that thing that you're taking has nothing to do with the bad trip.
Oh, right.
It's all mindset.
No, it's Adam. Just go in Genesis, right? Adam.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's pocket Bible.
Bible. We don't like going to the Bible, but I'm going to do it. So Adam, right, hitting up the fruit from the tree of knowledge of good and evil, right? Crunch, whatever it is, whatever the fruit was. What does he immediately do? Hides himself in shame.
Because he became aware of himself.
Became aware of himself.
Saw himself naked.
And then he blames God for that woman you gave me. Because it was her that tricked me.
Yeah.
So you can call this the first bad trip?
Sure.
Yeah.
On the Bible.
It really is. And who's responsible?
Himself.
He's himself.
Yeah.
It's totally his fault.
I wanted to
he was the one that no one showed it. Apple, a pig, or whatever the hell
it's how
he never showed. Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
To knowing everything.
He took it. That's the funny thing is taking a psychedelic is you take mushrooms.
You do see yourself.
You gobble mushrooms, and you're like. And there is a moment, at least with me, there was a moment where I'm like, oh shit, Robert, what the fuck? I'm like, oh, you took mushrooms, you did this to yourself. And you can't blame anybody but yourself.
And there are people who are going to blame God because God created the tree, God created the serpent, right? But he doesn't blame the serpent, he doesn't blame the tree. He ends up blaming God directly, right? And he blames God for giving him that woman who talked him into it.
Yeah.
Right? And like that whole thing is like a total lack of accountability.
Yeah, absolutely. Bad trip.
Yeah.
But then this one person that couldn't do DMT because she can't inhale it, she started doing mushrooms, and the first one was really good. Like there's just a baby because everybody's first trip is always really good because you're so blown away. The second time she had a bad trip. Like she was texting me going, "This is the most horrible situation I've ever been in. I'm terrified. I'm never doing mushrooms again. Oh my God, get me out of this. Get me out of this. When's it going in? When's it going in?" I say, "Write it out." That was the first hour. 3 hours later, she calls me on the phone and says, "I am so happy. I've had the best time in my life. I feel free."
You flipped her.
It was such a bad trip where she was able to see the bad trip was herself.
All you have to do is give in.
And she saw that the bad trip was all of her mental overstimulating all of her mental thoughts. It shut off her default mode network where she saw herself as it is. Now we say what the default mode network is. That's the ego. That's the default mode network is the process in our brain that keeps us in a perpetual state of thinking, either on the past or the future, or ego or pain body. That's our default mode network. So
the opposite of the Kundalini.
Yes.
It was everything you think you are.
No, it is opposite of Kundalini. Kundalini is letting go of your ego. Yes, this is attaching yourself to your default mode network, which keeps us in the what they call.
Yeah, you're not your job, you're not your khaki.
Yeah, and the guy coined it as mental time travel. And I like that because the default mode network is the mental time travel because you're always worrying about the past or thinking about the past and worrying about the future. That's mental time travel. It's not real time travel, but it's mental. It is a real time travel. It's mental.
Oh, it's real. So, you're borrowing trouble from the future where you're thinking about the past.
While we're thinking about the past and worrying about the future, we rarely have time, we rarely allow ourselves to think about who we are and the decisions we're making. Because we're still stuck in this perpetual loop of past and future, same as it ever was. Yeah. So what psychedelics does, it inhibits, it stops the default mode.
It's all right now.
And it's all right now. Because we're not even thinking about, us now. It's kind of taking away ourselves, and we're seeing ourselves as now. And that's when we don't want to change or we're afraid to change, that is a bad trip. Because we're seeing our mirror. We're seeing first.
Psychedelics, it's seeing the mirror.
And before you heal, you're going to see the bad stuff. Because how do you heal is you recognize the bad stuff. If you didn't recognize the injury, you wouldn't be healing. It's the same as it ever was. So what psychedelics do is they show you what needs to be healed, and relevant to the scale of how you want to change, being you want to change, you're going to see that as lessons and have a whole trip and come out of it going, I am so happy because this girl, that's all she wanted to do is have a spiritual encounter, and she did. Or there's the people who don't want to change for reasons they don't want to confront. They take the psychedelic and they're seeing everything that they don't want to confront. Bad trip.
Oh, yeah. Even in the Christian mindset, the death to self, death to sin.
Yes.
Right? Which is, you have to move past, like your ego.
Right.
Like he's...
Yeah. And to pass it,
he's telling you lies.
And to pass it, you got to recognize it.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing about change is you can't change unless you recognize stuff you want to change.
Yeah.
It's a bad trip. And I've had times, especially on mushrooms, not much so on DMT because DMT is so fast where you have to let go immediately. There's no reversal. But on mushrooms, many times I've had very conflicting thoughts in my mind. And that's what my trip was based on. It was like mental patterns. Your girlfriend was one of them. My mom was one of them. Trauma, core wounds, pain body issues that I've had. So half of my trip was think this out. And then I unraveled it in my mushroom trip, and bam, it becomes just bliss. And it becomes dark to light in my experience. And that's kind of what my representation of taking control of a bad trip would be. Opening your mind. If you clench on to the bad stuff, that's a bad trip. It's just you want it to be over, and you're not learning because you're just shutting off your mind. When am I going to die? When am I going to die? When am I going to die?
That's right.
Yeah. It's incredible. Yeah.
That's where you get loops.
So I guess my point of the whole thing is that bad trips are not. That's not a real term. There are no bad trips.
Just like flat Earth, it's just a misconception of how you see it.
Yeah, you see that and what you're left with. Because I guess if you don't want to change, you should never do a psychedelic. Yeah. Really. If you shouldn't do, everybody on camera, everybody watching this, if you don't want to change, don't do psychedelics. If you do want to change, psychedelics pushes you in that manner.
It's definitely a way.
It's definitely a way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like our pastor said. It's like if you don't deal with the demons in your life right now, you're going to move into your basement and start lifting weights. Mm-hmm. Right? And
I like that.
Yeah, I like it too. And I'm like, if you're not going to confront your ego, if you're not going to confront the primary person who's causing all your pain.
I like that. If you leave your demons in the basement, they're going to start.
No, if you don't deal with your demons, they're going to move into your basement.
That's right. Yeah. If you invite your demons to live deep down in the basement of your soul, they're going to start lifting weights again. Right. And
that's Mandela.
Luke, I am your father. Yeah. He's just throwing out words now. And I guess the neurological side of it is, what were you going to say? Go ahead.
I was going to say, that's how you develop that thought. You get that thought pattern and you just catch on, and then you now have this reality.
Yeah.
When they're building, doing the weights in the basement.
They're demons.
Yes. sooner or later you catch them, and now that's your reality.
Well,
let's say, but you have to stop avoiding it, right?
Well, once you catch the demon lifting weights in your basement, the scary thing is knowing that demon down there is so strong, he's been lifting weights, and you don't want to deal with it because he's been lifting weights down there ever since you allowed him to stay one night. You allowed him to stay one night, he's been there for a year, lifting weights, he's big. But the illusion is that you see the demon and you say, get out. He's going to go, okay.
Not only that,
I don't live here. You're right. I've just been waiting for you to say leave. Yeah. There's no fight. And that's the scary part is people think that there's going to be a demon and person fight. There's never a demon and person fight. It's only you asking the demon to leave.
At the very least.
That's
right? But the problem is, no, it is. It is. And that's like when you take the ego and the pain body, right? You're feeding.
I love the way it brings that up.
Right? You're feeding your pain body. You're feeding it to continue on. You're like, I don't want to deal with those demons. I'm just going to feed it.
Yeah.
Right? Right? And that's what projection and the mirror, right?
And the thing
that projection is you wanting to represent your demons in someone else.
Right. That's the only way you can experience.
That's the only way,
That's the only way you can experience your demons consciously is by subconsciously projecting them on other people. That's how we live. That's how we get the addictive side of our demons. Like we love feeling that we don't want to take responsibility of our demons, but man, you see that person over there being a dick? That's awesome. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Right? Or
I hate that or I love it.
I do the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing. Right.
No, and I feel like Trump derangement syndrome, as it were.
He said Trump derangement syndrome.
The people that hate Trump the most actually manifest Trump mannerisms the most. And so what's crazy to that is unless you're going to sit there and you're going to go, you know what, I need to evict the demons in my basement, like right now. Right?
I see what you're saying.
Take on the courage.
Trump syndrome, you're saying, is people are projecting their most demons. He's a very animated guy, so it's easy to put your own faults on this person. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah, I see that. Because he's very animated, very charismatic. Has many different attributes to a personality. Yeah, he has many things to hate about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate that about him.
I hate that about myself.
What I hate about myself.
Because that's the law. That is the law.
That is how it is.
And that's
why he pushes the boundary.
People can argue about it, but
because
he weaponizes it.
That's why he's such a polarizing guy. Because he honestly...
He learned long ago I can weaponize this.
Right, art of the business, dude. Yeah. Man, that's what that is, man. You love me, you hate me, it doesn't matter. I get the publicity. It doesn't matter.
And you're so polarized, you don't know which way to look.
Well, and it is law. It is. Nobody can say that it's not law that the things we don't like about people are our own projected insecurities. That's law. There's no way around it.
I would agree.
Even though we don't agree with it, that is true. Yeah. And I need everybody to take that home with them. It's the truth, man.
There might be some demons down there, you know.
It's incredible.
Go down there, stop feeding them.
So
get your barbells back. Yeah.
It's a bad trip. Is you basically opening that basement door and going down there.
And the door opening wide open.
Yeah, and no, actually doing mushrooms and psychedelics is basically throwing you down that basement door and you're like, oh, this is what I've created.
What are you people doing down here?
This is what I've created. Oh, insecurity. There you are doing crunches. Yeah. Oh, anger. Why are you benching 350? Fuck, you know, like, jealousy is over there boxing with insecurity again. It's horrible. Yeah, but you just say get out and they leave, and that's the cool thing.
Yeah, or you panic, and you're like,
well, yeah,
holy crap.
Yeah, let me out.
No, they're still here. They're still here.